It's Friday, November 25th. This is an end of the day and end of the week SPY recap. This is just a 4-day week this week, and you can see early on Monday when we failed to go down, and again we were looking at last week's possible pause bar and whether that would be just a reversal bar to the downside or a potential just pause in this uptrend and continuation higher, which it appears to be. And we saw that Monday, when we failed to kind of have an opportunity for a down move. We then, held that. And then for the next few days, we've been heading up. So today was just half a day of trading. It was a neutral day. You could see still slightly green, held above the midpoint of the prior day. Didn't really reach the high of the prior day. It formed an inside day, but it gave us an overall up week, a 2-up week. And in terms of just the price action, the pre-market range was coming down, towards the bottom of the pre-market range to start, but then you had the green bar to start with a little follow through. So there was a little bit of an up bias, all day long, and then we just kind of closed neutral. So in the big picture, we're still 2 up on the week. We'll kind of keep in mind now going into next week with 3 days left to go in the month, the midpoint of this week, we'll see if we maybe start, maybe we'll have a big gap down on Monday, and we can start below the midpoint and have a 2 down week going, but what we're really expecting is a continuation higher. And what's interesting is first on the monthly chart, we have this 2-up month that we've been projecting all the way up here, for all of November. We have 3 days to go. So we could get, in 3 days, you can reach our first target up here or come very close to it, the yellow line. So we'll see what happens Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We're expecting, until proven otherwise, we're still expecting to be reaching up to those targets. And that's why the bias has been to the upside. It's also interesting when you zoom some of the charts out. I've been drawing some of these megaphone broadening actions for a while. You can see here this broadening action on the daily chart projects kind of just a little bit higher up to that line, that yellow line. And if you look at the downtrend line, if I look at the weekly chart and really zoom it out, this is also convergence with the downtrend on the weekly chart. So if we head up, it seems like we're just targeting this yellow line up here, to kind of intersect the final move on the upside on the short term, and then connecting the bigger picture downtrend line right up in this area. So we'll see if we, could follow through into next week right up to this point in here. That could be an area to look for a reversal, but I'm not going to, automatically go short. You would just want to see the weekly chart. I'm always keying on that to reverse in some form. So that could happen. Maybe we come up early in the week and come down to the midpoint of that prior weekly bar. That would be a good reversal signal. We could get a little, neutral bar like this maybe into next week and then start 2 down into December, who knows? Or we can continue higher. Once we take out this target, there is another target up here. And maybe this entire trend, so to speak, is getting ready to, eventually move up. Then, at some point, at that point, it'll probably pull back a little bit, but maybe we're getting a whole reversal of the market back towards the highs, a year and a half ago. But anyway, long way from that as well. So we're just going to keep the weekly chart in mind as we kind of expect a little follow through higher next week because of the green bar. We'll just see how much higher we might want to go. We'll look for reversals, on this inside bar from today. If we just barely head up on Monday and then take out the midpoint of that bar, that could be a reversal down. Maybe on Monday we will start lower and take out the midpoint of the prior week and make a 2 down week. And maybe, in the short run, we can broaden out below this low right here, which would kind of turn the monthly chart red, and it will end up more of a month that really couldn't follow through to its targets, and then maybe into December we start lower. So a lot of things developing, but for now our bias is still to the upside. And today, finally, when you had a little bit of a bias to the upside on a half a day, there were a bunch of stocks. I kind of went to my board and was looking at the ones that had the bigger moves, the bigger changes to the upside. I happened to trade, it was Deere, I believe. Yeah, I traded Deere this morning, which was a good trade. You could have picked any one of these stocks. Home Depot had a good opening price action. Boeing had good opening price action, but I traded Deere at the open here and moved up nicely. And then it kind of had an orderly pullback, and then it moved back up to new highs. So, and there were a few stocks like that. Then there was also stocks like Netflix that I happened to buy puts on that just moved down a little bit. So, depending how the charts were opening up, you could have picked your individual stocks. But if you were biased to the upside because of the SPY, there were a lot of charts like this today that moved up nicely, and had some continuity to the upside as well, like Deere. So we'll see what happens coming into next week. Again, with the green weekly bar, 2 up, you are expecting a little follow through higher. And then at that point, we'll see if we can kind of reach our targets or do we get some kind of reversal developing. So far, we really haven't had a weekly reversal developing in the last 3 weeks. So, we stay to the upside until that changes.